Hi guys, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Pieter-Louis.
Welcome to our first episode of Legend and Lure, a world tour. Today we dive into the murky depths of the Bronx River and the mysterious legends lurking beneath New York streets. There are whispers of reptilian mysteries that has intrigued locals for decades. Could these sightings be linked to a forgotten legend? Or perhaps a secret government experiment gone wrong? In today's episode, we unravel the chilling tales of the Bronx River, reptilian, and the infamous sewer alligator myths. When I think of the disgusting sewer of all this gunk and waste, I can 100% believe that some sort of mutated reptile is living down there in the dark, wet tunnels. While researching the Bronx Reptilian, I came across some very interesting and frankly quite disturbing information. One article from the reptile blog dated October 23, 2009 really stood out. Pieter-Louis, why don't you read the part about the legend for us?
Okay, so I grew up hearing tales of huge alligators that supposedly cruise the sewers of New York City, warmed by the steamy air and gorging on rats, roaches, and garbage. In the 1950s and 60s, huge numbers of baby speckled caimans, or caiman crocodilus, dubbed alligators, were sold to tourists visiting Florida. In fact, I was presented with just such a creature by my grandfather. As the story went, the gators wound end up sewers after being flushed or dropped there when they became ill or too large for the owners to manage. Yeah, so they got too big.
And they didn't think about this? Can you believe that you can have a baby alligator delivered to your door? What could possibly go wrong? People would buy them as live souvenirs from Florida. This wasn't just some urban legend. There were actual newspaper ads for these baby alligators. Pieter-Louis, please read and describe the original ad for us.
Okay, so this is an ad, a little picture of a little alligator. Live baby alligators, $1.50. Safe delivery guaranteed. How would you like a real live baby alligator for your very own? A rage for baby alligator pets has swept the country. We have arranged at great expense to supply you with a genuine live baby alligator. Just hatch in the deep marshlands of the south at the amazingly low, carefully packed, safe arrival guaranteed. Think of the fun, the thrills you will have with one of these baby alligators. Read how fascinating they are, how interesting. Study nature. Remember, the alligator comes down to us from prehistoric days, from the age of the dinosaur. Do you want a baby alligator? You bet you do. What boy wouldn't? Price $1.50, postpaid.
So, for just $1.50, you could own your very own tiny alligator. What nobody seemed to consider was how big these cute, hard air quotes on cute, creatures would get.
What is interesting because postpaid means that, well, if I Google it, postpaid means that the sender has paid the postage, so the recipient doesn't have to pay. So for $1.50, that included postage.
Okay, but
So,
it was like the 1930s, so I'm guessing that was expensive back then.
but how do they get it to you? Do they put it in a box?
So I tried to read up about it, and I saw a article about it where they actually put the size of the alligator. As long as it's small enough and you don't have to worry about feeding it, they just send it to you. I'm not sure if I'm guessing it's in some sort of box with holes in it, because obviously an envelope won't hold. But as long as you don't have to worry about it, then they send it to you.
Because nowadays you can't send anything on the post. There's just too many rules, and you can't send money, you can't send lives, you can't send
Well, I'm guessing
anything
it depends
else.
on which country you're in.
Well, probably, but this says it was sent from the south, so I'm guessing. What did we say? From Florida? Yeah, you
It
said
sounds
Florida.
like it's from Florida, yes.
So the Florida to the Bronx, which is in New York, and for us people not in the Americans, the Bronx is 1,000 miles from Florida.
But
So that's quite a distance. That's not just one day in the post.
I'd really love to know which genius decided in Florida, hey, this is like a great business idea. Let's just get a bunch of baby alligators and sell them.
Do we know how many were sent?
No, I didn't see
No
anything
idea.
about that. But
Was it like the same farm sending? Well, this was like everybody in Florida go catching alligators and
I couldn't find anything on that. It was absolutely actually. It's something I want to look into, but I didn't see anything about that. No. But yes, so according to the National Zoo, male alligators can grow up to 11.2 feet. That's 3.4 meters long and weigh nearly half a ton, about 1,000 pounds. It's 454 kilograms.
yeah, for normal measurements.
Ye- Even the smaller female average around 8.2 feet. That's 2.6 meters. That's hardly a house pet, especially if you keep them in a bathtub.
So the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
Um,
It's the same thing, it's just different.
It's their nose, if I remember correctly. So if I look at the picture on the ad, they have a round nose, the alligator. So then I'm guessing the crocodile has the sharper nose.
And apparently a crocodile shows his teeth.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, the teeth stick out when the mouth is closed. The teeth stick out.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's how you know it's a crocodile. You can see the
You
teeth
learn
and
something
obviously
new every day.
the pointy nose. And I
Okay.
think the alligator is only in Florida. I think. Let's see.
Well, I'm sure they're all over the world. We definitely have them here.
Find a alligator. Alligators are just Florida.
Okay, but are you looking for where can I find an alligator or where are they actually from?
Alligators are native only to the United States and China.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that means anything else is than a crocodile.
Okay, obviously. Okay, that makes more sense. I just want to say we definitely. Okay.
So then when they got the alligators on the post, it had to come from Florida. The
Yes,
Everglades,
apparently they.
the swamplands.
Either they put food in with them or they felt they didn't need to feed them and they just sent them.
But anyway, they do get quite big.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know what people were thinking. You'd think they'd decide to look into that before they decide to buy a little souvenir. But anyway,
But did they like send the thing with a instruction manual? Feed it
I don't know.
7 mice in the next 10
It's
days,
the
or
1930s. They don't specify that. But at some point, reality must have set in. I mean, owners had to realize their bathtub-sized pets were no longer manageable.
was this 1930s or 1950s?
I think it was 1930s.
I think you just said
Oh, it was 1930s.
1930.
Well, yeah, it goes around.
Yeah, the
Right,
article from that reptile blog was from the 1950s and 60s.
Okay.
Well, then they already spotted the caimans in. Oh, they sold. No, that was sold to just tourists. So it's two different things. Yeah, it's not the same thing. The article was sold to people, and then the ad was for mail order alligator.
Okay. I did look. If I go further down, it was more between the 1950s and 1980s. Okay. So it's more the later. Okay. So yeah, you're right. But anyway, at some point they must have realized this is not gonna work. They're too big. The house is too small. It's gonna eat me. It's getting bigger than me. Basically, it's bigger than my kids. I don't know. I wouldn't want something that's 3.4 meters long next to my little boy. So, and what do you think their solution was? Flushing them down the toilet. So I had to research this because I couldn't wrap my head around it. I looked up toilets from the 1950s and 60s and to see were they different. Maybe some were bigger, maybe some were long drops even, but nope, they were just normal toilets. How on earth did people think flushing a baby alligator was an actual solution? How quickly did they flush them? I mean, how small did it have to be? You can't
Well, I guess
flush
you
a
can
big
get anything down a
alligator.
toilet if you really want to. If you can get it-
No.
we've got snakes in our toilet.
Yes, but a
Or
snake is long and thin. It can go up and down a pipe. An alligator has a body.
well, it depends on
You
at
can't
what.
flush me down a toilet. You can't flush our kids down a
Well,
toilet. How big do you think these alligators got before they flushed them?
well, I'm guessing that's the big question: is how big were they when they realized it's too big?
Was it this? Was it like Dad deciding, "Hey, this looks like a fun pet," and just brought it along, and Mom was like, "This is a bad idea." And after the third time, one of them got nipped by an alligator. She's like, "Let's just flush you down the toilet and forget about your existence." I don't. I don't know. I'm struggling with the logic here.
No, I think European toilets are different. I think in Europe women won't fit it down the toilet. Well, what I've seen in Europe, around here, I'm pretty sure you can fit an alligator down the toilet.
There's no way. There's no
I'm going
way.
to phone these people. I'm going to have them send me an alligator. I'm going to try.
No, that's the bad dad idea I was talking about. So let's not try that. Okay, but so let's say for argument's sake that some alligators were flushed. Then what? The first confirmed alligator sighting I could find was in New York City Times that's where the 30s came in, from February 10, 1935. We want to make sure about the date. A group of teenagers shoveling snow into a storm sewer near 123rd Street heard a splash. When they looked closer, they saw an 8-foot long alligator. They managed to pull it up, and unfortunately, they killed it with their shovels. Pieter-Louis, why don't you describe the newspaper clipping for our listeners?
Is this the one with the people holding the alligator, I'm guessing? Yes. 8-foot gator lassoed in Harlem sewer. And what I'm seeing is a smallish person and a biggish person holding a rather biggish alligator. Well, I'm hoping it's an alligator or it's just a very weird cat. By Halberton. Ladies and gentlemen. Well, spelled like that, exactly like that. Today only we present a super saponified, double distilled, hair-raising thriller entitled Capturing an 8-foot Alligator in Harlem. Watch closely now, folks. Here we are at 123rd Street and Pleasant Avenue. These three young gentlemen you see there. James Matrino, 19, on the left, and Salvatore Consolucci, very Italian, 16, with alligator dragged with rope from storm sewer in Harlem. Prized weight 125 pounds, and no one seems to know how it got in the sewer. Youths were shoveling snow into sewer when they discovered it. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a very old photo and very interesting article. I would like to see if everything else was written like that in 1935. How do you read a newspaper that sounds like the start of a circus? Anyway.
But they say, if I look on the internet, it does say 1935, so it was definitely, I don't know if it was the wrong date. I'm trying to look for it, 100% exact article, but okay, let's say it is then. What I'd love to know is, they're talking about 3 guys. There's just 2. Where's the third?
It's a little guy in the back.
But
should be.
His name isn't here, is it?
I think it's at the bottom. This guy. Shoveling snow into a sewer. There's more at the bottom here. James Matrino, 19, so we already said that. Then we had Frank Longo. And, well, yeah, Frank Longo is the third guy.
Oh, okay. So they just weren't interested in.
Look how strange this is. This is like
they
give the guy's address in the newspaper clipping. So
it's just the
James
address
Matrino, 19, of 440E, 123 3rd Street. Frank Longo, 18, of 1743 Park Avenue. So they gave your address in the newspaper. You remember, like 20 years ago, we actually gave. Safe. We went around and gave people books with our address and telephone numbers in, and it was anybody could have
so
it.
Many calls trying to sell you everything, and I can't say not so many murder because true crime was hectic, but still.
Anyway, so now we know where they lived. In case anybody was wondering.
You can go look if it's still there. So anyway, more reports followed with increasing speculation about where these creatures came from. Robert Daly, I think it's Daly. Sorry, guys, I'm going to butcher a lot of names. I'm really bad with names. But anyway, Robert Daly, 1959, his 1959 book, The World Beneath the City, recounts how New York City sewers official Teddy May insists there ain't no alligators in my sewers. That was until he personally investigated and quickly changed his tune, allegedly organizing hunts to eradicate them.
But what I know is I haven't been to America, and I've only seen it on TV. I assumed there was alligators in the sewers. In all the movies, if it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or
that actually
if
comes
it's
from
biker
this
mice from Mars
legend.
or whatever it is there were alligators in the sewers. So I assumed it's normal. There's rats and there's alligators. So
No,
the myth is
how are
that
they supposed to get into the alligator, into the sewers?
We said that we flushed them.
Yeah.
So it's just from
in this
what
case, yes, but I mean they're not getting in there themselves. So obviously, I also think they're actually in the sewers, but I don't think they got there by themselves.
But who says they didn't get there by themselves?
As in, they didn't walk from Florida and decide, hey, here's a sewer. I'm going to go to the Bronx to go sit in their gunky, disgusting sewer and, I don't know, chill.
Maybe someone did try and farm with them up in
Yeah, in Florida, apparently.
Well, Florida sent them up, but yeah. They could have gotten there anything else. But like just this image I've got of New York sewers is alligators and rats.
Rats, yes.
I think even that movie Ratatouille had alligator in it. When the rats went down into the sewer.
I can honestly not remember any alligators down there. But anyway, that's beside the point. That was in France.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of two different places.
Yes. So let's look here. So by the 1950s, 1950s? So by the 1950s, the legend of sewer alligators had taken off into a new life of its own. It even made its way into pop culture, appearing in the 1957 TV show Leave It to Beaver, where Beaver and Wally mail-ordered a baby alligator. They saw an ad on the back and just ordered one, apparently, for a comic book. And then movies followed. Thomas Pycon's 1963 novel, I'm not sure if it's V, or if it's the Roman letter 5, but I'm going to go with V, so his novel V featured a character hunting albino alligators in the sewer system, which I have to say I'd imagine they were albino. Even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles got into the myth in 1987, introducing a mutant alligator villain supposedly flushed as a pet. There were also claims of albino alligators in the sewers. People believed that deprived of sunlight and surviving on toxic waste, these creatures had mutated into something even stranger. The legend remained strong well into the 1980s. In 1982, a 2-foot-long alligator was found swimming in a Westchester Country reservoir, part of New York City's water supply. The creature was eventually captured and sent to the Bronx Zoo. So it was just, chilling there.
But what is the actual myth here? Is what don't we believe? What do people believe? Do people believe there's albino alligators roaming the sewers? Do we believe there's alligators in the rivers around New York? How many rivers are there?
No, rivers, obviously, they can be in the rivers. There's alligators
well, it's
down
still
the
2,000 miles away from Florida, so...
Yeah,
because obviously, if they're going to be in the river, they'll be in this county reservoir.
If you don't
that's where
like
water comes from.
flushing, if you're a nice person and you actually worry about your pet, I'd rather go to a river and release it there than flush it down toilets. So obviously, the rivers will also have them in there.
Because that makes sense. That's why we'll be at the county reservoir.
Obviously,
it's like saying there's a fish in the water. Obviously, it's water and it's a fish.
Obviously, there's going to be mutated alligators down the sewers. What kind of question is that? That's the belief.
I believe there will be alligators in the sewers because that's what TV taught me, is what the Ninja Turtles taught me. But do you want to believe there's mutant alligators?
Yes, of course.
Or albino alligators? Or
yes, because there wasn't sunlight and they ate like toxins and, I mean, think about what's down there, all that. Ugh.
Have you ever eaten crocodile?
No,
Oh,
not planning to.
tastes interesting.
That's just mean. Anyway, I believe there's albino alligators. You can go Google them. There's actual
Yeah, you get
albinos.
albino alligators like you get albino mice and albino
Yes, but
anything.
I believe there's a nice mutated family down there, just chilling and hiding from evil humans that want to hurt them, and they're happy and they'll come up when they're ready.
But there's people in New York believing that these mutated alligators are going to catch them at night.
I don't think it's about catching them at night. They're not turning it into a horror movie. They believe there's alligators down there. And what was you going to do down in the sewers? Why would they catch you?
Well,
Climb
they can
up
get
your
out of the sewers.
toilet.
Well, if they went down in the sewer, they can probably come back out.
I'm pretty sure that they're
yeah,
much
have a little
bigger
bit of a
now.
nibble.
If they actually fit down the toilet, I'm pretty sure they don't fit back up it now that they're mutated. That's the only part that's really not easy to understand. So the legend remained strong well into the 1980s. Speaking of the Bronx, the city even embraced the alligator myth. They made an alligator their mascot, selling T-shirts. Pieter-Louis, please describe the T-shirt to our listeners.
Well, it's green, and it's an alligator climbing out of a sewer wearing sunglasses. What else will it be?
I absolutely love it. If I ever make it to New York City, the Bronx, and these shirts still exist, I am definitely getting one for myself, Pieter-Louis, and our two toddlers. It's just definitely, I love it. I just want a shirt like that. So to this day, the myth lives on in art and pop culture. In 2001, sculptor Tom Otterness, sorry guys, I'm butchering that name, unveiled the bronze sewer alligator as part of his Life Underground public art series. Pieter-Louis, please describe the artworks to us.
Well, obviously, it's a chocolate alligator eating a baby.
It's a bronze alligator.
It looks like chocolate, and it
And
looks
that's
like
not
a baby.
baby.
The baby with a head of a money bag. So it's a money bag baby headed being eaten by an alligator coming out of the sewer. That's basically what it is. There's no better way of describing it.
So it's not a baby, it's a person, and if you go deeper into it, they was describing the money craze in New York City and so on. So
It's not really pretty, is it?
well, it looks delicious. It does look like one huge big piece of chocolate. I don't know if it's out. I took the photo. It actually looks like that if you're there. If any of you live there, let me know. But I have to tell you, I'm really craving chocolate right now.
This is a really strange picture.
So here's something crazy for you guys. Owning a baby alligator and sending it through the mail is still legal in many places. While New York State has outlawed buying and selling alligators without a permit, other states still allow it. Which means, yes, people are still buying baby alligators and later abandoning them when they get too big. I mean, seriously, why is this still a thing?
Well, it's because America is America. I think between different states, I think obviously where you get the alligators down in Florida, they let you do with them what you want. And remember,
It's ridiculous. I mean, you
it's
should
like
think
America's
about
like 51 countries in one.
Don't
Each
you?
state has its own rules and stuff. So New York says no, but just go over the border and then they say yes. And then you drive another 300
Don't
miles.
have a bathtub for the rest of your... I don't know how long it takes for them to grow big enough for people to decide not to want them. But, I mean, it's ridiculous. And so I had to go down this rabbit hole and see where else. Can you do it anywhere else? And Canada said no. Just no. They don't allow that.
But they said sorry.
No, they didn't say sorry. They said no animals, no wild animals is allowed to be held as a pet. And okay, I couldn't go through every single country, obviously. So then I looked in South Africa as well, and they said in certain provinces, permits are required to keep exotic animals as pets. Conservation issues are regulated mainly by the relevant provinces, bylaws and ordinance. In Gauteng, Northwest, Mpumalanga and Limpopo, no permit is required for the legal process of conservation of an exotic animal. So that to me says yes.
There's a loophole. There's always a loophole.
But what I'm guessing there is, I don't think they're so available here as they are in Florida. I think if I'm going to go searching for South Africa, I want a crocodile, I'm not going to find somebody that's just willingly going to give it over to me. Because I think they realize they can get a really bad lawsuit if that crocodile eats one of my kids.
I know some people.
I
You want a
just
crocodile?
see,
Let's get a
I
crocodile.
no, we have a swimming pool. He'll drown all of us and eat them, and a month later somebody will find, I don't know, a foot of each of us or something. No, thank you. Bad idea. So, experts argue that alligators couldn't survive long term in sewers due to the toxic environment. But I don't know. Part of me thinks it's totally possible that a family of mutated albino alligators is thriving beneath the Bronx, just waiting for the time to resurface. What do you think, Pieter-Louis?
Well, it's still, firstly, getting the alligator down there. So, like I said, I do think there is alligators there because I was told that way. But
And they actually pulled them up.
Being flushed, remember, an alligator is also still has to breathe. So how does the sewers work? You flush it, how long is it in the sewer system before it actually gets the air again?
That I can't
It's
find.
not like flushing a goldfish and it swims in the water. It still needs to breathe. I don't think there's mutant anything in the sewers. I don't think anything survives down there except for the rats and the turtles and the...
You just basically contradict yourself. If a rat can live down there, why can't a mutated
because a rat can
alligator?
climb down there. Alligator is going to drown.
There's enough. No.
Well, John going in, but
The entire sewer isn't full of
there
water.
There will be an alligator, I'm pretty sure of it, but I don't
Well,
think
they
it's
pulled
going to
them
be a
up, so
mutant.
there was definitely.
I don't think it was flushed down the toilet to be there. I think it just,
I don't. I also
found
don't
its
think.
way
I
there.
don't know how it got in there, but I also don't think.
but I don't think there's any mutant ones or any eight-legged, two-tailed alligators that are going to climb out and...
What I did read was that, which I also read, is that they still do it basically today, but then they get to the point where they realize, oh crap, I should not have gotten this big pet. He's getting too big for me. And then they phone people that work with wildlife and so on to try and rehabilitate them. And they ask them, listen, can you please come and get this pet out of my bathtub? So mostly today they're given up rather than flushed, and there is actually you can get fined and so on for, I don't know if you can get jail time, but you can get fined for flushing an alligator or letting them free instead of sending them to a place where they can be, well, not rehabilitated, because they obviously can't be rehabilitated, but then go to a zoo or something.
But if you keep it, you'd take it for a walk.
I don't know. I'm not planning that. I've seen crocodiles close enough. I'm pretty sure I saw alligators as well. I'm not planning to make friends. I like staying up there far away. So, what do you guys think? Are the sightings of the Bronx River reptilian creatures a simple case of urban legend, or is there something more lurking in the waters beneath the streets in New York City? Have you heard any other version of this legend? Let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining us on our very first episode of Legend and Lure, a World Tour. We hope you enjoyed it.
Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be heading to Romania to explore the Strigoi of Romania.
We had to Google that.
We had to Google all of this.
Until next time, stay curious and keep the legend alive. Bye.
Bye.